The Invicto isn't just the first full-size 7-seater from Maruti. It's the first time a 30 lakh rupee car can be bought in India with the Suzuki badge on it. It's the first time that a designed, engineered and manufactured by Toyota product is badged as a Suzuki. Remember, the story started with things going the other way around. It's also the first time we're seeing a hierarchy between the two brands. In the transition from Toyota to Suzuki, the Invicto has lost out on premiumness and features, making it feel like a poorer cousin of the Hycross. We could have thought of it as a special variant of the Hycross, but the small gap in price makes it feel like less value. So, should you consider the Invicto? If you think about it practically, there are a couple of reasons. And one reason why you may not want to indulge. Do you like driving or waiting? You see, the top spec variants of the Toyota Innova Hycross aren't available right now. The bookings for those have been closed for months. So if you want one, you will have to wait. But if you opt or have opted for the Invicto, you'll be much closer to driving one home already. When your Invicto arrives home, it will feel even more special than the Hycross because it would have come so much sooner. In terms of its looks, yes, the bumper and grille are different. It has the stamp of Nexa in its headlamps and tail lamps. That's those 3 LED DRLs. Other than that, it's just like the Hycross. So let's play the tape. The kind of love and respect we give the Innova, you'd think it were an SUV. And it's got proper SUV vibes going on as well. It's got this square face, strong shoulders, good. But 18-inch wheels that look tiny and a dumpy rear, not so good. Correction, the Invicto is using 17-inch rims like the VX variant of the Hycross. These look small and funny, but they do have an advantage, which we'll talk about later. On the basis of the cabin experience, I would have thought that the Invicto would be 2 to 3 lakh rupees cheaper than the Hycross. The Hycross used that tan shade for its seats and cabin to great effect. It looked more lavish. The Invicto has used an all-black cabin, which is usually reserved for sportier cars because it makes them feel cozy. An MPV is supposed to give you a sense of space, not take it away. The advantage of this all-black finish is it makes the cabin feel more consistent, hiding the tougher plastics better. The rose gold finishes also contrast nicely. The rest of the design is unchanged, simple and industrial, like the dashboard and the center console. The touchscreen infotainment system is low-res, as are the 360-degree cameras. Other than that, there is some cost cutting. But I would say don't worry about it. The sound system on the Hycross was goodish. This on the Invicto is dull. Get a better one. The bigger cost cut and experience miss is in the second row. Instead of the powered Ottoman seats of the Hycross, the Invicto gets captain seats, which are leatherette wrapped. They are just as generous in terms of space, but they aren't as lavish. But I would say don't sweat it. To really use those lounge seats, you would have to compromise on front passenger space and third row passenger space, effectively making your MPV a 1+3 at best. So if you want to travel with the family, this configuration is the better and more practical one. You still get the same massive amount of limo-like room. You have the convenience of sunshades and the dedicated air conditioning system. Not having power seats also means you save on weight, which is an advantage in other areas. The advantage of the Invicto size can also be felt in the third row. It's usable by adults for all-day journeys and still have space remaining for luggage for your weekend trips. I feel crazy every time I say this, but this massive 3-row MPV is great for the city. On the one hand, there's the strong hybrid setup. It feels electric in stop-go traffic. It's quiet, quick and efficient. It's got enough performance that you don't have to move out of eco mode on most days in the city and beyond. This minibus that runs on petrol returns 16 kmpl in the city. On the other hand, it's a new breed of Innova. It's made car-like. So don't let its size intimidate you. It feels car-like to drive. To steer, it's light. When changing directions, it's controlled. Over bad roads, you aren't bouncing and bobbing around inside. And for the Invicto's special factor, those 17-inch wheels. They add to the sense of comfort and plushness. They are also less noisy than the 18 inches, which means your time in the backseat will feel that much more chill. And the Invicto is a great car to chill in the backseat. At this point, I'd like to remind you that you can't have captain seats with leatherette upholstery and 17 inches on the Hycross. Moving on, the Invicto makes for a great travel companion. That strong hybrid drivetrain lets you cruise at 100-120 kilometers an hour calmly. Overtakes, you don't need to break a sweat. While doing all of this, it manages to return 17-19 kmpl. At times I saw over 20 kmpl as well. This figure did surprise me, as it's higher than what I experienced with the Hycross. Could it be that the Invicto's misses are helping it out? The smaller wheels, the missing seats have made it lighter and more efficient. That would definitely be a part of the reason. But the sensible ones amongst you don't mind missing out on those features anymore, do you? This is also a great travel companion because of its rough road ability. It can soak up the rough stuff, just prefers to go at a more chill pace. The Invicto, though, has chinks in its travel abilities. The sense of luxury and calm that you felt at low speeds disappears on the highway. The cabin feels much noisier. You can hear the road, you can hear passing vehicles, and you can definitely hear the engine as it strains every time you need to make an overtake. This car needed better sound insulation. It needed better feel and more power from the brakes. In case of emergency situations, you do end up using more force than expected. The ADAS system from the Hycross hasn't made it to the Invicto. That is one of the best systems that we've used till date and would have looked forward to using it on expressways to just cut down the effort and chill out a bit more. The Invicto is moving Maruti Suzuki upmarket, but it's still going up against Toyota. So many of you will argue, and fairly, if you are spending 30 lakh rupees, you might want to reach for the Toyota badge and for the better equipped Hycross. So picking the Invicto is about traditional Maruti sensibilities, practicality. The Invicto isn't just as good as the Hycross, as a 7-seater, as a city machine, and as a travel machine. In some ways, it is a bit better. Its misses actually make it more practical and sensible. The biggest stumbling block for the Invicto isn't the missing ADAS tech, though that would have been handy. The real stumbling block is its value equation, which isn't as good as the Hycross. But if you think about it, it's a small price to pay for the convenience of driving your Invicto home much sooner than you would have with the Toyota.